Welcome to another edition of Bet with Bobano. It is Tuesday, July 30th. Ian Cameron with you. We've got a first-time guest joining us on the program today, and someone that'll be joining us likely on Tuesdays on this show moving forward. Cam Lynch, first-time guest here on Bet with Bobano. Cam, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great, and just once again, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Good to have you. Of course, you're a big baseball guy. That's why you're on with me today and Tuesdays moving forward. It's one of the sports you follow very closely. And, of course, baseball heating up right now with the trade deadline here. A lot of moves, a lot of deals being made, a lot of interesting returns for guys that maybe don't warrant the kind of returns that some of these teams, there's a premium that some of these teams are having to pay to get some pitchers and some key bats of note for them to help them in their drive to make the playoffs and maybe win a World Series. But it's a tricky time to be betting baseball, like today with the deadline right around the corner. You got players going, players coming. So you got to make sure you look at the lineups, no question about it. Even more important, who's in and who's out. At a time like this, there's no doubt. So without further ado, let's get into the MLB card, and we will begin with the Toronto Blue Jays and the Baltimore Orioles. We've got Chris Bassitt on the mound for the Jays, Corbin Burnes, the ace of this Baltimore Orioles pitching staff, on the mound for them. Baltimore minus 210, home favorites, 8.5 being the total here in this game. This is a game I don't have a strong opinion on. Baltimore, to me, is a little overpriced based on the fact they haven't played great coming out of the All-Star break. I mean, obviously, they're still leading the AL East. They've still got a 63-44 record, but they're only 4-6 in their last 10 games. They split the day-night doubleheader with the Jays yesterday. They won the day game. They lost the night game. They've got Corbin Burnes on the mound, who, I really don't want to go against him. He's been very solid. He's been pretty much good for 3 runs or less in just about every outing he's had this year. That's why he's the ace of this pitching staff for Baltimore. Chris Bassitt on the other side for the Jays. He's been a little more hit or miss. The Jays are only 1-2 in his last 3 starts. But a very interesting thing to point out with Bassitt, his road numbers are actually better than his home numbers. In Rogers Center, he's got a north of 4 ERA, road ERA of just 3.18 coming into this start. So can he pitch well and keep the Jays in it? I really don't have a strong take on this one at all. I mean, I actually cashed the over in game 2 last night. I think Baltimore's overpriced. I don't want to lay minus 210 with them, but I certainly favor Burnes over Bassitt from a pitching standpoint. So it's a pass for me. Cam, any opinion here? Jays, Orioles.
You know what? At first, I just love that we're starting with my hometown team, the Blue Jays. That's great.
And it's not so by design. It's the earliest game on the board, 6:30.
I know.
We go in order of time.
Start. Yeah. But, looking at Corbin Burnes' numbers, like 2.03 ERA at Camden, it's really hard for me to go against that. And Bassitt, like you said, 1-2 in his last 3, 1-3 in his last 4. His ERA in July is 6.23, and he had a very hot June, 1.95 ERA. But he's a trick or treat guy to me. You never know what you're going to get with Bassitt, and he is reliable as a third starter in a rotation for a good team. I don't know. I think, look at the hitting and like how hot Vlad has been in the last couple of weeks. However, I don't like any team where you've got one player leading an average, OBP, slugging, home run, RBI, total hits like Vlad is. So yeah, you know what? I got to go with the Orioles on this one. But yeah, it's not an enticing matchup.
Yeah, it's for a tricky betting game for me. I agree. Tricky to have a strong opinion from a betting standpoint as well. I certainly agree with that. All right, we got the Yankees and the Phillies. A little interleague action next up. Garrett Cole, Aaron Nola, and Nola for the Philadelphia Phillies. We got pretty much Philadelphia here minus 140, home favorites, 10 the total in this game. This is another one where 2 good pitchers. Garrett Cole, he's been a bit mixed bag. He had a couple of good starts. Last outing, he got crushed, though, in the Subway Series by the New York Mets. Gave up 6 runs on 8 hits and 5.2 innings. How will he fare here against the Phillies? He's dominated the Phillies in the past. He's faced them 3 times, including last year. Held them to 1 run in 6.1 innings. So good numbers for Garrett Cole against the Phils. Meanwhile, you've got Aaron Nola, who we know historically has pitched well in Citizens Bank, his home ballpark, which is where he is tonight. 3.42 ERA. We saw a high-scoring affair last night. He just didn't have his best stuff. A guy that's obviously one of the better pitchers in the National League, Zach Wheeler, but he did not have his best stuff last night as the Yankees get to him, and the Yankees win going away. Phillies bounce back spot. Nola pretty good, but the Yankees are starting to get things turned around again. They had a brutal run there in June. Earlier in July as well, the struggles continued. But you look at the way they've played now after that New York Mets sweep and losing 2-3 to Tampa. You know, they beat Boston 2-3, a dominating win against the Phillies in the first game of this series. So Yankees, and they're starting to hit again. Remember the lack of problem during their slump. But look, Judge has been incredible. But Soto's been good. Austin Wells, guys like that from the catcher spot are stepping up and hitting the ball well. Gleyber Torres is starting to heat up right now for the Yankees. So I don't want to step in front of the Yankees right now. And their offense is starting to pick it up. So it's a pass again for me. Maybe the over is 9.5, but, you know, we'll see if the pitchers – I beg your pardon. I got to pump the brake.
I was going to say 9.5 seems high,
We have a pitching change. We have a pitching change in this one.
Wait,
Will Warren.
Is Cole injured?
It is a scratch of some kind. So, yeah, Garrett Cole's been scratched for this game. General body fatigue. Wow. Gosh. Hockey players and football players are fucking laughing their asses off at that right now. General body fatigue. But nevertheless, so it's Will Warren called up from AAA getting this start now. So that's definitely something that's just recently happened. 6.11 ERA and 20 starts down there in AAA. That's not very good by any stretch of the imagination. So, yeah, I understand. I was like, why are the Phillies now minus 140? That's why. There's been a pitching change in this game to Will Warren. So, yeah, I'd probably lean Phillies now, but I'm off this game. What do you think, Cam?
I've never heard that.
I think Cam's frozen there with his connection. We'll see if we can get him back in just a moment. In the meantime, let's move along. We'll get to Oh, go ahead. We got him.
I'm back. I apologize. I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm back. Just to finish up on Yankees Phillies, I know you just said general body fatigue for Garrett Cole. Not a big Garrett Cole guy. Career 3.31 ERA. Like, yeah, the numbers are good. I'm worried that he's going to have an I'm back type of game. But Aaron Nola, arguably the best team, kind of the same guy on the road that he is at home. I don't know. I see him getting the best of that matchup and want to make up for the last game against the Mets in the Subway Series when he gave up 8 earned runs. So Aaron Nola lost his last 2 starts. I think he's going to want to rebound.
It's Will Warren. You won't see Cole. You won't see Cole tonight, Cam. So it's Will Warren pitching for the Yankees.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah, you cut out, I think, when I said that. Okay. Yeah, Will Warren. So we won't see Cole tonight. No Cole.
Okay. Let's go Phillies.
Yeah, for me, Phillies, but yeah, I'm not going to lay minus 140 when early in the day when Cole was on the mound, it was like even money. So yeah, that's just a stay off. Yeah, maybe Phillies team total. Maybe they can hit Warren. They're off a game where they lost big. I'd probably prefer the Phillies team total, and the wind is blowing out in Philly tonight. In a lot of these ballparks, the wind is blowing out. So it was a overpalooza last night in Major League Baseball. It might be again tonight with the way the wind. There's most of these stadiums, the wind's blowing out, which means that's usually good for the lineups, bad for the pitchers. All right, next up, as we continue along, it is the Marlins and the Rays. Little battle of Florida here. Springs on the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays. Edward Cabrera for Miami. We've got Tampa minus 165 home favorites, 7.5 the total. Give me Miami here. Miami's playing very competitive baseball. They're getting a very good price. We're already seeing what the Rays are doing. Writings on the wall. They're trading away a Rosarena, Isak Paredes. Go on down the list, trading, players away left and right, selling at the trade deadline. That's not a team I'm looking to lay minus 165 with as a favorite. Not even maybe here with this Tampa Bay Rays team. Now, I will say this. Jeffrey Springs, when he started last year for this team, now, again, this guy's been out for a very long time. We have not seen Jeffrey Springs. Pitch
April 15th, 2023.
Last year. Yep, first month of last season. And all of a sudden, he's done for, of course, with the Tommy John surgery that he had to undergo in April of 2023. He was very good in 2022. 5 innings, 82 pitches in his rehab start. In Durham last Thursday, Kevin Cash says no restrictions on his workload tonight. He'll be able to go out there and pitch as long as they need him to. But the bottom line is you're laying a $165 pitcher with a giant boatload of question marks, team that's selling off their best players here at the deadline, and a Miami team that may be playing their best baseball of the season right now. In fact, I think they are. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games. They took 2 or 3 from a good Brewers team. They took 2 or 3 from a good Baltimore team. I mean, they're 4-2 in their last 6 games, and they're getting plus 150 in this game. So sign me up with the fish. Miami here as a big road underdog. Cam, what do you think here? Marlins Rays.
So Edward Cabrera, he's starting for the Marlins, correct?
Yes, he is. Now I will say this about Cabrera. He's hit or miss, but last 2 starts been a little bit better. You look at it, 5 runs in his last night, a little bit better. He had a couple of rough starts. Marlins are 3-1 in Cabrera's last 4 starts, by the way. So they've been winning with him on the mound here. 3 of his last 4 starts. By the way, the over is cashed in 5 straight Edward Cabrera starts as well. So I would lean to the over here as well. But I like Miami. I think they're worth a look here.
I think I'm afraid of the 7.05 ERA that Cabrera touts. Like, I don't know. He's not a guy that I really want to lay money on and rely on. Like, to me, he's a career minor league guy. Do you know what team he played for this time last year? It's the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Like,
well, he's been in the Marlins organization his whole career, but he's been bounced around minors to the big leagues. Yeah.
I just, you know what? I got to disagree respectfully. I think spring's coming in. I like the Rays right now, and I know they just got gutted in their sellers, and maybe they've got nothing to play for anymore. But the Marlins at 39-67, like, they've been scrappy, but like at the same time, like, what are they playing for? So these 2 Florida teams are dejected. Not a lot of motivation. I would stay away from it, but if something about this matchup enticed you, personally, I'm going against Edward Cabrera every time. That's just me, though.
So I just want to let you in a little something on my handicapping style. I really couldn't care less. I shouldn't say I couldn't care less. It does matter still, but I really don't care about the pitching matchups nearly as much. I'm looking at team form. I'm looking at, whose lineups are hitting, whose bullpens are pitching well. I think the starting pitchers are always, I don't think they matter in the overall equation as much as they have in the past, because starters don't pitch deep like they used to. Bullpens are pitching more. Lineups are a big part of it now. And current form matters to me. And here you got Tampa selling, all their players, there's bullpen pieces are being traded away. They're laying a big price based on their overall season numbers and Miami's overall season numbers, which are terrible. But here's Miami in the short term, 6-4 in their last 10 games. And if you bet Miami in those 10 games, you're profitable. You've made money. You've made good money because they've been plus 180, plus 200, plus 250, in some of these games. So you're easily profitable betting on the Miami Marlins here in the last 10 games. So, yeah, I think live underdog here with Miami in this spot. We'll see how it goes. All right, next up, we've got in this next game here on the slate, Cubs and Reds. Justin Steele and Tony Santillan here for the Cincinnati Reds. Looks like it's another pitching replacement for Cincy. Cubs minus 125 road favorites. 9 the total. Probably would lean Cubs here. I know they got drilled last night by the Reds, but I'm a big Justin Steele fan. It's going to be a bullpen reliever by committee type of game for the Reds. And one thing about the Reds, I know they hit the ball pretty well last night, 7-1 victory. This team being able to put 2 good games offensively together this season is like pulling teeth. They haven't been able to do it. So I would look to the Cubs and Steele as a short road favorite here. Cam, what do you think here? Cubs, Reds.
I like Justin Steele. I don't know if I want to put any money on a team that is replacing their starter last minute with a guy who's played 8 innings in the last 2 seasons. And mind you, his ERA is 0, but we're talking about 8 innings here in low leverage positions. It's funny. So it's Tony Santillan? I didn't know how to say it. I was going to ask you.
The L silent. Santillan.
I was going to say, I was like, maybe Santillan, but seeing Frankie Montas aka Mr. Osterine, go. Like he gave up 18 earned runs in his last 21 innings. Like he was an auto loss every time he got onto the mound. So I'm curious to see like if Tony Santillan can move into a starting role, but against a guy who was top 5 in Cy Young voting last year, I go Cubs too.
Yeah, I think it's a cheap price here. Bounce back spot, too. They got crushed last night, but I think they have a chance to bounce back here in this one. All right,
Yeah.
Seattle and Boston. Luis Castillo for the Mariners. James Paxton, our fellow countryman, for the Boston Red Sox. We've got Seattle minus 115, road favorites, 10.5, the total in this game. High total and the wind blowing out at Fenway. And I get why the total is that high, because you get those kind of conditions, and it's not just a little wind. It's 83 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 mile per hour wind blowing out at Fenway Park. So the ball's going to be flying. There's no question in this game. Even though, Luis Castillo, he's pitched pretty well, 3 runs or less in 5 straight starts. And even James Paxton has been serviceable. Hasn't been great, but he's been serviceable in his last 3 starts. That being said, he's given up 3 home runs in his last 4 starts going into this one. Castillo's done a good job keeping the ball in the yard, but he struggled against the Red Sox. Okay, he faced them at Fenway last year in May, and Luis Castillo gave up 5 earned runs, 7 runs overall, 6 hits in 5 innings, and 3 home runs against the Red Sox. So I don't trust Castillo here in a ballpark where he struggled last year. Boston is a better offense now with some of the moves they've made. I don't trust Paxton either. So I get why the total's high, and I get why the bettors like the over here. I really did like it at 9.5, but we're talking 10 and even 10.5 now. So it's getting pricey, but I would still lean over the total here, Mariners and Red Sox. It's just anytime the wind is blowing out at Fenway Park, I want no part of an under, none at all. Cam, what do you think?
I agree with everything that you just said. I see it being a high scoring affair. Luis Castillo, though, against James Paxton, I'm taking Luis Castillo, especially that he's given up a total of 4 runs in his last 4 starts. His ERA is 1.40 in July. All quality starts. The guy's on fire at the right time, considering that the Mariners and Astros are deadlocked with 2 months to go. James Paxton, love him, Big Maple, but he's looked awful since June started. Like you said about Luis playing in Fenway last year, could be a callback to that game. I would go the over too. If we're talking money line, I'm going Mariners in this one.
All right, next up, interleague, Minnesota Twins, New York Mets. David Festa for the Minnesota Twins, a spot start for him. Sean Manaea, the veteran lefty here for the New York Mets. We've got the Mets currently minus 120 home favorites, 8.5 the total in this game. I would lean Mets team total over, maybe full game over here as well. I mean, I cashed a ticket with the over last night. Mets did most of the damage for me, 15-2 over the Twins last night. They absolutely destroyed Simeon Woods Richardson and the Twins bullpen after him, and Quintana actually pitched surprisingly well. But Festa's not been very good. He's made 2 spot starts for the Twins this year, 12 runs, 16 hits in just 10 innings. That's not good, obviously. More runs and more hits allowed than innings pitched. That tells you all you need to know. He has not been good in this spot. I think the Mets can do some damage. The question is going to be, what do you get from Sean Manaea? Here's the thing with the Twins, and I know C-Mac and I have talked about this a lot on the show. They have crushed lefties all year. Their numbers against lefties are spectacular, but lately they have not been as good against lefties. And we just saw a lefty last night in Jose Quintana shut them down. So the Twins aren't hitting lefties like they've done earlier in the season. But you got to think they can maybe bounce back a little bit here. Sean Manaea only has a 4.33 ERA at Citi Field, so he's been slightly worse at home this year for the New York Mets. So I'm going to go back to another over with these two teams, just like last night. It's same number, 8.5. I think it's very doable. We can get over this number here with the Twins and the Mets. What do you think here in this one?
Oh, yeah. Well, you've got a combined ERA of 13 between these two starting pitchers. And I love Manaea, like best hair in the league, most hair in the league. It's great. He's having a solid first season in the Mets uniform. The Mets have won 5 of his last 6 starts, and like you said, his ERA in July 3.34. just I see David Festa getting lit up by this Mets team that's been quite frankly surprising this season. Yeah, I'm going the over. And if we're talking money line, I'm going Mets.
In the Mets, I like the over more than the Mets because I don't know if I trust Manaea here in this matchup, but I think the Mets can definitely hit Festa and the Twins bullpen, which got ripped apart last night as well. But I lean Mets, certainly from a side perspective. If I were to bet it, I would only look at the New York Mets here tonight. All right, more interleague action. Texas Rangers, St. Louis Cardinals. This was the World Series back in 2011, and what a series it was. It was crazy. I still remember Nelson Cruz misplaying that fly ball for Texas, and it killed them in that series. And St. Louis ended up winning it. That crazy Game 6 that led to the Game 7 for the Cardinals. All right, we've got Scherzer and Lynn, the pitching matchup here, two veterans. We've got the Rangers minus 120 road favorites, 8.5 being the total. Texas bounced back last night. I kind of thought that was a good spot. Better pitcher on the mound with them and Eovaldi, and they got it done last night. Scherzer's, for the most part, been solid, but he's kind of had a little bumpy start, good start, bumpy start, good start. Well, he had the good start last time against the White Sox. Is this the bumpy start? The pattern says so. But then again, can you trust St. Louis's bats? Lance Lynn, all of a sudden, he had that one. I don't know what happened to him. He must have been drunk on July 6th against Washington. He gave up 11 runs in 2.2 innings. Because you take out that start, and in the other 4 starts he's made since June 24th, he's given up 2 runs or less. He's been great.
2 runs, yeah.
Yeah, so which Lance Lynn is it going to be tonight? So this one I would actually lean to the under a little. I don't like a lot of – who the fuck would like unders right now after 11-1 to the over in Major League Baseball last night? But, not every game, for crying out loud, is going to go over the total. And I think if there's going to be a game that might be a little lower scoring, it could be this one. And there's a chance of rain, and a good chance of rain, 70% tonight at Busch Stadium. So if you're placing your bets, be careful. We might be dealing with a rain delay and maybe even a postponement with that kind of forecast. Cam, what do you think?
Couple of big names. If this was 2016 and it was the Lance Lynn that was previously on this Cardinals team after he moved around, I don't know what I would say. But Max Scherzer, he was on the IR, came back at the end of June, and like you said, his last start, he looked sharp against the White Sox. But then again, everyone looks sharp against the White Sox. So I don't know if that was a game that he needed to get back to form after such a long layoff. Yeah, you know what? In this one, I'm going Cards. I think they've still got something to play for. I think Lance Lynn has a decent game, but I'm going with the under. But if I'm talking teams, I'm going Cards.
Yeah, I think that this is a stay away game. I usually don't want, Cam, any piece of betting games with a rain delay or possible rain delay. It's just it throws everything off, especially an over. I find overs are dead on arrival, fucking DOA when you're dealing with a rain delay, because right away it's like the umpire's got a late dinner appointment or some shit. The hitters have no patience at the plate. It's already been a late night waiting for the game to start. And I find they just try to rush and speed through the game. So that's another thing. I'm always fearful of being on an over in a game that has to start late due to a rain delay.
Yeah, let's stay away from that one.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, for me, pass on that one. All right, Kansas City. Atlanta, Milwaukee next up. We've got Bryce Elder on the mound for the Braves. There's another pitching change here. We didn't know who it was going to be initially for the Brewers. Let me see if I've got an update on that. Joe Ross now is going to be this guy's been around the block. Nationals, you name it. He's been with a bunch of teams. But now he's with Milwaukee making a spot start here. We've got the Braves. Let me see what the adjusted price is on that, because obviously there's probably been a price change since then. It's still around minus 120 with the Brewers as favorites, 9 the total in this game. This one I would lean over again because I'm not a big fan of Bryce Elder. He hasn't started this year for Atlanta, but he's making a spot start here. And I remember down the stretch last year, this guy got lit up. He gave up 19 runs in his last 13 innings of work last year. Joe Ross is going to be a guy that's got a 4.5 ERA coming into this spot start. And then it's going to be bullpen by committee for Milwaukee. Milwaukee's got a good bullpen, but you're going to be getting more into their middle relief, not their higher leverage relievers if you're Atlanta. So, yeah, I think that you can make a case for the over. Nothing on the side for me. What do you think here, Cam, with Braves and Brewers?
So I have to respectfully disagree. I think this is an under game.
Okay.
Atlanta's first in the majors in runs allowed, 3.7, and the Brewers are fifth at 4. I see a low-scoring affair, especially with Christian Yelich still injured. I just don't see a lot of firepower coming out. I know that we've got some no-name pitchers, some struggling pitchers, but I don't think they're going to be in the game that long. I think, like you said, like the bullpens are pretty good. We're going to go with a big bullpen game, and I'm going to go under. I know it's close to make an argument for both sides, but no, just looking at this on the surface and then doing some digging, I still feel it's under.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a strong over recommendation personally for me. When I see Elder and Joe Ross, those are not pitchers I trust, but we'll see. These are two lineups that are flighty, though, too. One day they can score 7, one day they get shut down completely. That's what we've seen.
Yeah, Ross is getting 4 hours notice.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, I still like over, but again, these lineups can be susceptible at times, and that concern. Bad pitching even has shut them down at times. We'll see if that happens tonight. All right, Kansas City Royals, Chicago White Sox. Michael Waka Flocka Flame here for the Kansas City Royals, and we've got Cannon here for the Chicago White Sox. Jonathan Cannon, who is actually still a guy that was thought maybe gets dealt here before the trade deadline. Kansas City -180 road favorites, 8.5 being the total. I mean, what is left to be said about the White Sox? They actually looked like for a second there was a glimmer of hope that they were going to snap that. What is it now? 14-game losing streak last night. It's 15 now, but it looked like they were going to end it at 14 last night. They were up late in that game against Kansas City, and then it was a bullpen implosion. And the Royals cracked 3 home runs in the last 2 innings against that awful against that awful Kansas City bullpen, White Sox bullpen. It all came in the 8th inning, rather. Multiple home runs. It was Hunter Renfroe. It was MJ Melendez, and then it was Bobby Witt Jr. With the big blast. And Kansas City comes back from a deficit of they were down 5-2, and they turned it into an 8-5 win. Good news for me because I had the over, and it was on my premium card last night, my best bet card. And we got there with the over last night between the Royals and the White Sox. I don't like the over tonight because Michael Wacha is a capable pitcher. He's given up 3 runs or less 4 of his last 5 starts. His overall numbers are very good this season, 3.65 ERA. This White Sox team, I know they finally scored 5 last night, but overall they still can't hit, really. I mean, they've scored 3 runs or less 9 of their last 10 games. 5 runs is an outburst last night for the Chicago White Sox. So I don't trust their offense against a pitcher like Wacha. Cannon's been all right. Cannon and Crochet, have kind of saved the pitching staff here for the White Sox. And his numbers are better at home, 3.24 ERA for Cannon in Chicago. I would lean under here a little bit. But again, we're talking about favorable hitting conditions, I believe, in Chicago. Actually, no, wind blowing in. Okay, so that's good news. 82 Fahrenheit wind blowing in. This is one of the rare venues tonight where the wind is actually blowing in, which should help the pitchers a little bit. So I'd lean under. Certainly from a side perspective, you can't even at this kind of a price, I can't put a penny of my money onto the Chicago White Sox. I refuse to. I think if you're going to bet Kansas City, you have to go first 5 run line -0.5 at a plus price, or full game run line. I'd lean in the Royals' direction here, but I'm going to stay. I haven't been actively betting against the White Sox every day during this streak. I'm not going to start now, but I'm also not betting Chicago. Hell no. What do you think?
I think these guys they're looking to save face. Like 15 straight losses, it's embarrassing. Like this shouldn't be a headline when we're looking at the score app that they've got a franchise record 15 straight loss. Like they're playing for pride. Like this is a team that's won 10 games on the road all season out of 100 and over 100. And I've never seen something like this. Not that I can remember. It's a stay away for me. Save your money. Don't bet on the White Sox. I would do the under if you're twisting my rubber arm. With Jonathan Cannon being a 3.24 ERA at home, like you said, Wacha, very reliable. But yeah, this is this is a stay away from me. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, Royals, I guess I have to, but at the same time, like, this White Sox team might just want to break the streak just to be out of the headlines. So that's what I have to say about that.
All right, this game, the game in this series last night made me very happy. Pittsburgh Pirates and Houston Astros. I was on Paul Skeens and the Pirates at a reasonably cheap price last night, and they get it done late. 3-run bomb, Michael A. Taylor off Josh Hader, the closer for the Astros in the 9th inning, and they end up with a 5-3 victory last night over the Astros. Tonight, it's Bailey Falter, the lefty for the Pirates, and Hunter Brown for the Houston Astros. Houston minus 190 home figure. This opened as low as minus 135 on Houston, all the way up to 8.5 now, or minus 190, I should say. 8.5 the total. Now, I do agree. Houston, I think, is the right side here tonight. Bounce back spot, tough loss. I don't really love Bailey Falter for Pittsburgh. And again, we talk about a Houston team that against lefties, historically, they've been good, not nearly as good this year, but Bailey Falter, I think they could get to him a little bit. His numbers are 4.08 ERA. He's been a little bit worse on the road. His last 3, he has a 6.55 ERA, Bailey Falter, which isn't very good. He's living up to his name. He's faltering right now for the Pittsburgh Pirates. No question about
my
that.
Joke.
I know. It's just, yeah, cornball,
right
I know.
There, yeah.
But not pitching well. Meanwhile, you talk about someone that is pitching well, Hunter Brown. He had a terrible first month. I don't know what happened to him in the first month. He was getting lit up over and over again, but he's figured it out. He's been dominant here in the month of July. 2 runs or less, just 3 runs in his last 18 innings. 4-1 are the Astros in his last 5 starts. I'm going to go with an Astros full game, first 5 run line split here. All right, first 5 -0.5, minus 130. With the Astros first 5 run lines. So Astros to win in the first 5 innings. I like that. And I like Houston -1, minus 140 for the full game as well. I think they bounce back, and they've got the right guy they want on the mound. He's undoubtedly, Hunter Brown, been Houston's best pitcher for the last month or so. Cam, what do you think here? Pirates, Astros.
You know what? You said everything I wanted to say about this game. Like, Hunter Brown, I think he had the worst April of any qualified pitcher. Like, he was 6.39 ERA going into June, and since then, lights out. With this team that's in a deadlock with the Mariners, I see them making a surge. I would take the over in this one, just because of Bailey Falter. Like, the Pirates are 2-8 in Falter's last 10 starts, and he is just giving up runs like it's Halloween, just handing out candy, just runs. That's how I see Bailey Falter. So yeah, let's go over. But yeah, Astros for me, safe bet, very safe bet.
All right, we got 4 games left. We go to interleague action here. Colorado Rockies, LA Angels. Cal Quantrill, another Canadian starter here, taking on
right in Port Hope.
Yeah, exactly, right by your neck of the woods there. Griffin Canning for the LA Angels. Angels minus 130. Road favorites, 9 being the total here in this game. Griffin Canning is a favorite. No, thank you. I want 0 part of that. He was actually good in his last start, though, against Seattle. Gave up just 1 run in 5 innings. But he's not someone I'm laying chalk with. That is for sure. Look, Quantrill, they've won 2 of his 2 starts in a row. 3 of his last 4 starts, the Rockies have won with Cal Quantrill on the mound. He had a rough start, but he's been a little bit better lately. 4.09 ERA overall, 4.24 ERA on the season. Meanwhile, Griffin Canning, like I said, pitched better in his last start, but still he's got a 6.39 ERA in his last 3 starts, 5.04 overall, 4.35 at home. Look, the Rockies, I get it, right? 38-69. They're even worse than the Angels. They are a pathetic 14-40 on the road. But I got to take a small piece of them as a dog here. I just don't think Canning as a favorite is something that I not only do I not agree with Canning being favored, but I'm always willing to take a shot against that. Even though this is Colorado, it's dicey to do it. But I think I would still take Colorado. I know they've lost 4 in a row going into. They got swept by the Giants, but this is not the Giants. This is a much worse team, the Angels. So yeah, I'm going to take a small shot. small shot with Colorado here. What do you think, Cam? Rockies Angels.
I completely agree. Once again, Rockies 14-40 away. That does scare me a little bit. The Angels being 10 games under 500 at home. It's not an enticing matchup to me. If we're laying money or laying chalk, like you said, I like that. Cal Quantrill. I don't know if I'm betting with head or heart here, but I'm going over, and I'm going Rockies. Yeah, that's what I gotta say.
All right, Washington, Arizona. What a crazy game last night. The Nationals, they blast poor Jordan Montgomery. They look like they're going to win comfortably. And then an absolute shitting of the bed by Finnegan, the closer for the Nationals in the ninth inning. And the Diamondbacks come all the way back to bite like the snakes they are. The Washington Nationals 9-8 last night. Crazy comeback by Arizona. They send Ryan Nelson to the mound. Patrick Corbin, one of our favorite fades the last couple of years on the mound for the Washington Nationals. Arizona minus 180, home favorites, 9 the total. I cashed the over last night between these two teams. I think I'm going to come back to it tonight. Obviously, I'm not a big Patrick Corbin fan. He's actually been a little bit better lately, crazy as it is to say, but he still has a 5.52 road ERA. This is an Arizona team that I think from that left-handed side matches up pretty well against Patrick Corbin, and I think can do some damage. Ryan Nelson for the Diamondbacks, he's another guy that had a bad start. He's definitely pitched better lately, but I can't get away from that Chase Field ERA at home. 6.21 home ERA this year for Ryan Nelson here for Arizona. So I'm going to go back to the well over again with these two teams, just like last night. What do you think here, Cam? Washington, Arizona.
100% over. Easy bet, easy money. Washington, you said
well, easy decision,
for Washington?
But hopefully it's an easy bet, as in the result is easy. We'll see.
Can you repeat what was the line for Washington? Was it plus 140 that you said?
They are, yeah. Well, right now Arizona's around minus 170. Washington's around plus 145.
Okay.
Yep.
I want to take the Nationals in this game. I know I don't have a lot to back it up. This is more of a gut thing. But like you said, like Nelson at home and that ERA, I just have no faith in. Nationals aren't terrible. Patrick Corbin, 2-10. Bad ERA. This is, I just got a feeling about this one. I feel like it's Washington.
Yeah, look, they almost won last night, and they were a big dog. The only problem, and you're right, I can't lay this kind of a price with Nelson, but I don't want any part of a side with Corbin pitching for for Washington. So yeah, it's an easy pass for me. It's just stick with the totals, stick with the total here, and we'll see how it goes. All right, next up, we've got the Dodgers and the Padres. Great big matchup here with Padres suddenly playing better baseball. Tyler Glasnow and Matt Waldron, the pitching matchup here. We've got the Dodgers minus 125, road favorites, 7.5 the total here in this game. Look, I really like the way the Padres are playing. I'm tempted to back them here in this game tonight against the Dodgers. And look, Glasnow's not been as good the last few starts. He's given up 12 runs in his last 14 innings. That's not great by Tyler Glasnow. Wow. And then you look at Matt Waldron. He's the knuckleballer, the sidewinder. He's someone that's had a slew of very good starts. He's had a slew of, some worse starts at times. His home ERA is 4.33. You would like to see that be a little bit better ultimately. But as far as team momentum is concerned right now, and I should say the Dodgers don't. The Dodgers have actually played pretty well here since the All-Star break. I will admit they played some pretty good baseball. But so is San Diego. It makes this a very good series, but I'd lean to the home dog here a little bit, San Diego. Cam, what do you think? Dodgers, Padres, big series.
Yeah, big series, big divisional matchup. Two quite good pitchers. Like, I don't know if I want to call them aces, but like as close as you can get. Maybe number 2 guys. Definitely an under. I don't know. The San Diego at home, I kind of like the chances. I think there's money to be made there, being the underdog, but being at home and, like you said, the resurgence of them in the last several weeks, it's hard to bet against the Dodgers with all the firepower that they have, top to bottom. But tonight, I like the action on the Padres.
All right, final game, Bay Area battle. Bay Area battle for the last time because they're out of Oakland after this year. The Oakland Athletics and the San Francisco Giants. Robbie Ray, that's right. Robbie Ray is back on the map again, making his second start now back from injury for the San Francisco Giants. JP Sears for Oakland, battle of lefties. We've got San Francisco minus 190, home favorites, 7.5 the total in this game. I'll dare Robbie Ray to pitch as well this time around. I know it was a great start against the Dodgers, 8 strikeouts, no hits. He actually gave up a run, but it was the walks that came around. One of his walks that came around to score. He didn't give up a hit. He no-hit the Dodgers in 5 innings. It was very impressive. I've got to see more though, because this is also someone that when he was with Seattle, he did not pitch well like he did in Toronto. So. Which Robbie Ray is it going to be here tonight is the big question. Not to mention, the Giants for the course of the season have pretty solid numbers against lefties. So we'll see how they fare here in this one, and especially of late. Both teams are crushing lefties right now. Giants have a 297 average, 7 runs per game against lefties in their last 10. Oakland 6.1 runs per game against lefties, 271 batting average, and JP Sears is one of those pitchers too for Oakland. He's all over the map. Like sometimes he's good, and then he can get crushed like he did against Houston in his last start. What I do know is neither bullpen's very good. Sears has a 4.52 ERA. Total's only 7.5. Let me just check the wind conditions here in San Francisco tonight. But wind blowing out 10 miles per hour tonight at San Francisco at that ballpark. A total of only 7.5. And the one thing I've been doing lately, if you guys been watching the show the last couple of weeks, I've been on a lot of Oakland overs. They're hitting the ball better. Their pitching is still suspect. Their totals are lower, and they've been going over these numbers. So that's the bet for me here. Over 7.5 for the A's and the Giants. Cam, what do you think?
Yeah, take the over 100%. Like, we haven't seen enough from Robbie Ray to really have a good feel as to what we're going to get from him. Just with his injury concerns over the last couple of years, his inability to stay on the mound. I know that he's at home against the A's, and the A's are 18-37 on the road, compared to the Giants 32-22 at home. The wind is enticing. I think that's why I'm saying the over, but was it San Francisco minus 200? Is that what it was?
Yeah, San Francisco around minus 190. Yeah, pretty close.
190. Yep. Yeah, not great value, but safe value.
Yeah, I would lean Oakland, but Sears is up and down, and we'll see what we'll see if Robbie Ray can deliver again. But like I say, that's just one start. It was very impressive, but I need to see more for a guy that hasn't pitched in a very long time. All right, great stuff. What a great debut by our guest here, Cam Lynch. Outstanding work. He was ready. He was prepared. And great to have him on today, and great to have him a part of this show on Tuesdays moving forward. By the way, it would be great to have you guys with us moving forward, with me moving forward at Dub Club. And this is the time. Subscribe now. 6 months, all sports, $400 down to $250 US. Now through January, NFL and college football season. Thursday, 2 days away. NFL and college football season win totals and futures betting report. The entire report will be posted for Dub Club subscribers. Looking forward to that. Season win totals, division, conference futures, national championship futures in college, Super Bowl futures in the NFL. We're going to go into the awards markets as well. A couple season-long player prop bets, part of that report as well. So Thursday is the big day. Can't wait to publish that publication, the season win totals and futures report. Dub Club 6 months all sports discount is valid through August 24th, the first day of the college football season. So again, get on board for that. $250 US, 6 months all sports. The other Dub Club options are the regular prices. 1 month all sports $75, 3 months all sports $200, 1 year all sports $750. And again, at Dub Club, you get the entire card, every wager. High volume approach from yours truly every single day, all sports. But if you want something selective, you want just the best bets, that's where the SoBet subscription, where I launched my best bet subscription a few weeks ago, is SoBet, $9.95 per month for that. And again, you get just the top plays and best bets daily in all sports with that at SoBet. Same thing with the win totals and futures report on Thursday. Best bets only will be posted at SoBet, not the full report, which is exclusive to Dub Club. So there you go. It's $9.95 per month. Regarding the best bets card, 4-2 in MLB last night, 6-0 streak with totals in MLB as well. So the SoBet option is there as well if you want a more selective approach and just the best bets daily in all sports. So $9.95 per month for that. All right, Cam, as we do every show, we wrap up with a best bet. So hopefully you got one in mind. We'll start with you. What do you got for a best bet here for this Tuesday MLB slate?
Sorry, I'm not sure if I was 100% ready for this. I'm kind of going off.
I should have said it before we started. But, we'll throw it out there.
Yeah, no. You know what? I'm going. Can I say over on the Marlins Rays game? Can that be my best bet?
Yeah. I mean, it's only 7 at DraftKings. 7 over minus 125. So there you go. It's a low number. And I know you're not a big fan of Cabrera. Springs, who knows how he's going to pitch when he hasn't pitched in this long. So there you go. A little Battle of Florida for Cam Lynch in his Bet with Bobano show debut. He is going to go with the Marlins and Rays over 7, minus 125 for his best bet for this Tuesday slate. My best bet, it was a good night last night, but unfortunately the best bet was a big fat stinker, and that was Seattle. They got blown out by Boston last night. So we'll try to make amends with the best bet here tonight. Let's see. Let's go to that Mets Twins over 8.5. I cashed a Mets Twins over 8.5 last night. Festa's been terrible. I got to think the Twins can do a little bit better job tonight against Minaya than they did against Quintana last night. So let's go with that for my best bet for this Tuesday. Twins, Mets over 8.5 for my best bet for this Tuesday MLB card. Great stuff, Cam. Final thoughts before we wrap it up.
No, I'm just looking forward to the last hour of this trade deadline and to see if there's going to be any fireworks. Just hoping that the Jays don't continue to get gutted. Leave our team alone, please. Yeah, that's my final thought. Leave the Jays alone.
Well, the core, I think, will still be intact, but they're trying to get rid of all the expiring contracts right now, and we'll see how that goes. I was actually impressed what they got back for Kikuchi. That's probably the first good thing Atkins has done in a very long time. No question. They actually got a nice return for Kikuchi, no doubt. Yeah. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Nightwalker, Crystal, everyone in the chat. Hit the like button on the way out. Everyone watching on all the social media platforms. Appreciate it very much. For Cam Lynch, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. Bet like Tony Soprano. Bet with Bobano. And we will see you again tomorrow on Wednesday for another edition of Bet with Bobano.